Welcome back to the Amazon EU Masters Quarterfinal live from Berlin. We are at this moment 2-0 in favor of BDS versus Vitality.Bee. And let's be honest, we were talking about the top lane. We were praising the top laners. And all of a sudden, they don't mean anything because junglers are stealing the highlights. Yeah, your lane!
As a jungler, what can I say? I'm just really enjoying Sheo's performance today. It is absolutely absurd. I mean, we spoke about in the pre-show how, you know, yes, top lane is going to be a very important part of the game, but a lot of it would come from Reeker and Sheo. And Sheo, I mean, you have to feel kind of bad for Skeanz because he smited with 10 HP left, but at the end of the day, he's kind of unlucky there. And from that point, it just kind of felt as though Sheo had complete control of one side of the map because, you know, Crownie lost his flash level 1. The expectation was, all right, sure, this Caitlyn lane has to get punished then. But as soon as that invade comes down, it kind of shuts that opportunity for the Jarvan to routinely just come towards the bottom side and gank. And yeah, sure, we had a couple of moments where Jeskla and Jactroll were able to trade out a little bit, but realistically, this was just kind of the Sheo show, consistently ensuring that Crownie could play out this 2v2 in the bottom side of Erdote.
Beautiful moments, beautiful hammers, beautiful W's. And Sheo is playing some kind of champions that maybe don't drag that much of an attention like Sejuani and also the Poppy, but he's playing them so flawlessly. The W's, as I said, they were so amazing, denying Jarvan to go in. Jactroll is smashed onto Poppy's W more than a couple of times during this game, denying Vitality.Bee's intentions once again. And one thing I said in the last post game was you don't want to be playing hide and seek with Sheo. No. And you started the game playing hide and seek with Sheo, and the guy seems to be pretty fucking good at the game. Yeah, I mean, from the level 1, right? And to me, I think the other important thing to note when you start to sort of divulge and talk about draft as well is that Vitality.Bee's options for engage were really limited. And absolutely, yes.
The only way that they could really get in was with Jarvan EQ and then, you know, pray for follow-up.
But you have Poppy.
You have Poppy to shut it down, and we saw it in the B-roll there so many times. Sheo just, oh, there's a flag on the floor, I'm just going to stand in the middle of it and press W, and all of a sudden the engage is immediately shut down, and BDSA can effectively continually take fights how they want to and never have Vitality.Bee take fights on their own terms.
It was you saying in the middle, like, it's not that he's picking the flashiest champions, but the way he's cruising with them, I'm like, can you adopt me, man? You're just too clean at what you do. And now we can talk about the
that level 1 was too much.
No, he's just too good. Okay, that level 1, Jamada, talk to me. You're the jungler. Yep. They're level 1. They killed Caitlyn. Caitlyn was picking flowers out of a sudden outside of the bushes. I don't know what she was doing. She was picking flowers. I don't know. Oh, the rose. And they took away the level 2. They took away everything.
Yeah, it was a very odd
moment.
Yeah. No, look at this.
They have it. Look at that.
What is he doing? He's on social media.
I mean, he was moving, so he wasn't alt-tab.
You don't question when a guy is DMing.
Look, but yeah, look, it was a very strange. You know, I love that production had that just like ready and locked and loaded.
They knew it.
To me, right. Again, Sheo's early invade kind of shuts it down. I think one thing that I was very surprised to see is that there wasn't actually a lot of early game aggression focus towards the bottom side, because one of the adaptations we saw quite frequently when Caitlyn was last in meta was junglers would just take red buff and run to bottom lane and just gank it level 2. You had the setup for it. I guess Sheo would have at the very least taken away some of the bottom lane camps to try and alleviate that pressure so that there would have been less camps to deal with on the bottom side, or hell, even just match the gank if it ended up occurring. But the fact that the level 2 level 1 shenanigans happens, it then means that there is no level 3 for Skeanz until he leaves the bottom side of the map. So it kind of just, again, leaves that 2v2 in an isolation matchup, which, to me, Caitlyn Renard is always going to win. The Bard pick was a bit strange, especially for an R5. Yeah. It's not the kind of lane bully like Karma is where you get to shut down the Caitlyn. It's more about roaming. And, I mean, if you're roaming away from a Caitlyn lane, your ADC is just going to suffer for it.
Okay, let's talk about the draft. Even though I don't know where she is. Okay, there's Caitlyn.
Middle
of the draft.
It is a bite. It is a bite, obviously. But then you blind pick into the top lane. Olaf was picked afterwards. You get the counter pick as a support, the Bard and all that. Is this a draft difference or no? Explain to me.
I think it is an execution difference and an understanding difference between how teams want to play these compositions. But honestly, at this point of the series, I'm taking the Caitlyn as a bait. You pick the Caitlyn and it's like, okay, come to me. come to me, bro. I don't care. It's like, you wanna volley Caitlyn? They are more than glad that you are going to volley Caitlyn because Caitlyn was 2-4 and still was ahead in CSs. And still was ahead in itemization. And that is not something you can allow yourself when you want to win that lane. You have very narrow window of opportunity when you are laning as an affiliate versus Caitlyn. You have the green weapon. You can kind of match the range with Caitlyn. It's not forever, but you have that chance. But is what Jamal was saying, you're picking Bard, you want to have some impact in the rest of the map, so you are leaving affiliates alone. So Caitlyn is gonna bully him down. And we saw that any time Aphelios was alone, the ace in the hole popped and chunking Aphelios down. So Aphelios is not able to do anything for the rest of the lane. 2-4, he doesn't care. He just doesn't care.
Yeah. Jamana.
Yes.
Look into me. There's one pick we should highlight and talk about it. And
so
the one is...
yeah, it's a pigeon
is that
in the mid
sound?
lane.
It's Azir, like it's a free version of Azir.
So Azir, massive in this series so far, right? Obviously we had the game 1 play. Whilst it wasn't as explosive in this game per se, it still has a massive role to play because in my mind, what it's doing right now is it's securing a lot of reliable mid lane priority to effectively just have Sheo play off of, right? And I think when you have a Caitlyn lane with mid lane priority, you kind of just set yourself up for like pretty consistent success. Yes, the game 1 early game went the way of Vitality.Bee. This time around, with the Azir Caitlyn and no, sort of hard support matchup to deal with, all of a sudden Vitality.Bee have no real answer. I'm kind of hoping, and maybe we can get confirmation through our ears, that Vitality.Bee haven't swapped sides to go to blue.
I have confirmation.
What side are they on?
So you think Vitality.Bee is going to take red side?
I would like them to stay on red, because I don't think being on red is the issue.
I think they're going to switch.
Makes a lot of sense, by the way. So Vitality.Bee decided to go on blue side.
Okay, so like, if they've gone to blue, my hope is that what we're going to see is either Poppy priority, Poppy ban. I think the Caitlyn is a bait. What I really hope they do is take away the Azir. I actually think that the Azir might be the cornerstone issue here for BDSA, because for Vitality.Bee rather, just simply because it's very safe in the mid lane. It seems like they can't really punish that scaling aspect, but it's also giving Sheo a lot of freedom to just kind of move around. And even if you might be kind of scared of some counter picks, ban it. See what, shake the tree, see what falls out, because right now you're 2-0 down. If you let BDSA take up these same sort of picks, again, the same kind of core trio, right? Jungler that's going to play engage or maybe even disengage with Azir Caitlyn, it seems like they're just so comfortable in this combination of champions that they're just going to 3-0 the series.
Definitely.
So maybe we can approach the third game, because this is match point in favor of BDSA at this point. Noah, you look into this game. What can they do? Obviously, we need to celebrate victory. We need to celebrate who's good. But Vitality.Bee, what can he do? You predicted 3-2. I need 2 games still.
Yeah, definitely. That is true. I never expected this to be so one-sided so far. I mean, these 2 games have been an absolute smash by BDS Academy. I agree with Jamada that Vitality.Bee needs to shake the tree, and in my opinion, the blue side pick by Vitality.Bee is start to shaking this tree. You need to, I don't know, you need to change things, and the side is a point to start somehow.
It speaks more to me of, we might not have an idea on how to break things other than swapping sides. Because I
kind of agree with that.
My honest read is, BDSA, they first picked Caitlyn game 1, they then went to Poppy because it was available. They were leaving Azir late. Snap up the Azir if you're on red side. Go X plus Azir, an R1, R2. See how BDSA try and respond. If they go towards the Ahri, you know that's a relatively positive matchup. That's how it's been working in this series so far. And then just move from there. If you've got the mid lane priority, you should, in theory, be able to move that pressure down and try to shut down this Caitlyn lane if it shows up again. We'll see again, because with blue side, you get 1 priority pick first, right? And this pick has to be super important for how they want to play it out this early game in particular to me, because right now, Vitality.Bee, I'm not so convinced anymore that they can stand up after seeing how this early game played out once they had no ability to actually shut down the Caitlyn.
Hot take. We talked about the top lane. They didn't show up because Szygenda is actually working really well versus Adam. This is why none of them are showcasing each other, because they're skill checking each other.
Yeah.
That's why they can't translate their lead, because there's no lead to the rest of the map. So it's up to the rest of the map. It seems like the rest of the map for BDSA is way better at this point.
The fact is that the focus of the game has been so mid-to-bot centric. The top laners were so, wow, what is going on? But the fact Szygenda had a very hard matchup in this last game, and honestly, he kind of managed it pretty decently. Well. But it was not a comfortable matchup for him. You couldn't give it. He gave him a lot of attention because you wanted to shut Caitlyn down. So Adam was doing whatever he wanted in the top lane, as Szygenda was trying to survive all the time, and you needed to be aware of Sheo. In the meantime, it was a very, very, very uncomfortable game for Vitality.Bee, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, what I wouldn't have minded seeing is maybe shift focus from Vitality.Bee, go towards the top side, try and attack Adam. You haven't done it in the first 2 games.
Great.
But now that they're on blue side, it's harder to do that. Like, traditionally, if BDSA want to just leave counterpick to Adam for R5, they can. So now their options are a little more limited. From blue, you can try and run drafts like what BDSA have been doing. You know, mid lane priority, counter engage or engage jungler, sure. But then, you know, a dominating bottom lane in the early game. See if that's something you can, you know, try and shake BDSA sort of out of this rhythm. Because I will say, at the very least, Crownie has had some very interesting early laning phases. Obviously, game 1 was more to do with the lane matchup. In game 2, you know, dying early like that, a little bit curious, but because of Sheo's hard work, it left the lane in isolation, which is still a winning 2v2, so I think it played out as it should have. So to me, I think Vitality.Bee really need to maybe try and adopt what BDSA have been doing and try and shut down the mid lane priority and then try and move it down to the bottom side, or in my opinion, try and attack Adam. He's had a relatively quiet series, all things considered. Maybe this is an angle that you can look towards.
So you forget about the bot lane, you focus on the top side and give some leads, some favorable lead, as we were talking at the beginning of the pre-show, to Szygenda. Is that it? Is that the answer? Noah?
I would love to see that from Vitality.Bee, but I don't know if I should be expecting that to happen. I think they're going to try to snowball through the ball lane one more time, because what I agree with Yamada is red side for BDSA is probably meaning counter pick for Adam, as Szygenda was having this counter pick, not the last game, but in the first game he had the counter pick. So I'm expecting counter pick for Adam. So you're gonna you're gonna in theory be struggling in the top lane. You wanna try to snowball to, or at least creating advantages towards the bot lane of the map. But I don't know if that is going to work, honestly. And most importantly, you need to disrupt the amazing mid-jungle synergy that BDSA is showcasing these areas. That's the most important. It doesn't matter what lane you are playing towards, that if Sheo and Reeker are on the loose, you're not gonna win.
So let's do it. We need final predictions. This is match point in favor of BDSA. Yamada, who's gonna win?
If Vitality.Bee don't adapt properly, I can see this just being 3-0. I think BDSA have had a really solid read on the series so far. And even though they had a very rough early game, BDSA were very happy to just answer it and win out in the later game teamfights, which is normally Vitality.Bee's speciality.
Just give me an answer.
I'm trying to be wrong during all these tournaments, so I'm gonna say that it's going to be a 3-0 for BDS Academy. So let's see if we have a fourth map.
Let's hope for it, but I don't know if it's going to happen, if BDSA are going to just slam the 3-0 versus Vitality.Bee. But in order to go to that one, we need to toss it to the casters one more time at least. It's Vitality.Bee trying to struggle versus BDSA, and it's Trouble, Initialize, and Nightmare on the caster's desk.
As always, thank you so much, Archon. It's a pleasure to be here for what could be the final time. And I want to start this potentially last game with a bit more of a holistic look here. I want to bring up a topical discussion from beyond League of Legends, namely, how do we save the bees, the Vitality.Bees?
All right, do I have to be the bad guy again? Yeah, I'll be the bad guy. That's fine. It's NFL teams, I'll be the bad guy again. Over in 2022 spring, when Vitality.Bee came in, Skeanz put his name as probably the best EU Masters EROs jungler we had in spring. And I think he's had a very relatively quiet series where his Lee Sins, where his aggressive ganks in the early game, he got his Wukong in his hands, and there wasn't much other than a Rift Herald that got sneaked away. You're picking Jarvan into a Poppy knowingly you're counterpicked, but then you don't really choose to play away from that Poppy, and you're instantly nullified by the W. And honestly, that mid-jungle duo that has been getting Vitality.Bee out of these holes is just non-existent. If you look at the champion pool from Diplex as well, the Lissandras, the Talias, the Sylases that were setting up Skeanz for success in that mid lane are just not there, and he's been quite struggling on that Ahri.
Well, I don't know about bees, but there's more than one way to skein a cat. I think it has to start from that jungle, if we're going to talk about that mid-jungle. Yeah, I can do this too.
He did it.
Crazy. I did do it, yeah. I'm really looking at the jungler from Vitality.Bee. Such a core part of this roster. The roster which revolved around Skeanz in so many ways. In spring, yeah, you got Szygenda up in that top side, who's one of our very best top laners at ERL level. But it all starts with that jungle. And actually,
Are you happy?
I am happy because first 2 games, I was really, really surprised that Azir got through the draft. Das just highlighted just before this game too. If people play Azir, you ban Azir on this patch. Finally hits it from Vitality.Bee.
And what I really like here is that also Vitality.Bee get that blue side, which means you get dips on on champions like Poppy, for example. Get it for Skeanz, play it in the jungle. Once that Trundle is out of the picture that's been banned away from BDS, ooh, very nice. Even something like Sejuani that can be flexed between your mid and your top. It's something that you can use to your advantage to try and initiate. Sheo had some fantastic ultimates in game number 1 to catch people off guard. Now, it could be Szygenda, it could be Skeanz. We've talked about Szygenda and how flexible in general he is with his champion pool.
The make of this, of course, you know, as we said, it is a flex. Could go towards the top side, could go towards the jungle, and now I need to see what the response is. A bit of a change up though. Lucian and Sylas now locked in. A different look from BDS Academy.
And I think one of the big things about this series as a whole has been Vitality.Bee not winning early skirmishes. They've been giving themselves the tools to do so, and they've just not been winning them. Lucian, Sylas, some of the very best early skirmishing champions in the whole damn patch right now.
And something that is also sticking with me is how BDS have completely swapped the way they want to play. Over in spring, it was all about bot lane. They've swapped gears now, playing all about Adam. Now again, they're playing hard, shoving bot lanes. This is most likely going to be a Lucian, Nami lane. Those are bots on the map. It was that Caitlyn / whatever support complements the champion for games number 1 and number 2. And this time, it's going to be a little bit difficult for Jeskla and Jactroll to play the lane because yes, Ezreal with Karma is a very hard shoving lane, but Lucian Nami will always have kill pressure on you.
May lose the shove early on, but the moment you start getting a few of those levels in, a few of those items, the damage comes through.
Kills.
Right, exactly.
Farm champions, folks.
So you need to see how they set up the rest of the map, because of course Sylas not necessarily known for his shove either. Often has to trade his HP bar to get shove, and you've got, as we said, that Ezreal Karma so deadly at that level 1 to get the shove. Could cost BDSA in terms of that early pressure, which honestly is something that Sheo was really used in the particularly the last game. You know, that level 1 invade cost them a lot.
Yeah, and if we were going to put that lens over onto Skeanz and say, all right, what have you got us? If it is going to be something like a Sejuani in the jungle with a Karma, that jungle support is not going to be proactive. It gives you value in team fights, sure, into the mid game, but early on, Skeanz and Jactroll, if they choose that pairing, it's not going to help too much. And I look at now a lot of other junglers being banned by Vitality.Bee. I wonder if they trust angling to put that Sejuani into the jungle.
And I feel like due to the disconnection between Jactroll and Skeanz, this is why Diplex has to step up. And usually if you do shove the Sejuani into the jungle, you want 2 melee laners. Something that comes straight into mind is probably the Renekton that hasn't been banned away, has a pretty okay lane into the Aatrox as well, pairs up really nicely with the Sejuani.
Skeganda's not the Olaf player.
Since Sejuani really likes melee players. Oh, very nice. Another melee champion in the mid lane in the likes of Akali. And honestly, Sylas doesn't have that much fun in the early game. You get onto him with the Sejuani, you can shut down Reeker from the get-go.
Okay, so now you do have a proactive mid lane in terms of that Akali. Once you get that ultimate, it's not really going to be online for that first Herald fight, but still, it's going to be early enough in the game for Diplex to...
I cannot believe this. I cannot believe that the pop is in R5.
R5 straight through. And you're like, you've got now that top side of the map for the likes of Vitality.Bee where you can use the Sejuani to make things happen. On the other side, though, that's Sheo's Poppy. That's Adam's Aatrox. You've got yourself some aggressive playmakers for Reeker and Crownie. Feels okay for BDSA.
Reeker Sylas as well. He made his whole career in big with that champion.
And so I actually think that there's a common talking point I have about Poppy and Sylas where I like, for Poppy, a lot of people are like, oh, so many dashes. Don't get me wrong, Poppy's great into dashes. And Sylas is like, oh, so many good ultimates. They are just good champions at skirmishing on their own. And then you throw in the fact that there are so many melees into something like an Aatrox, into a Poppy that can stop them at dashes from short range. Sylas already has the Akali ult to steal, has the Sejuani ult to steal, which is of course something that Fnatic used in the LEC playoffs to great success. That cherry on top of this X factor these champions bring is not only present, it's adding on top of already a great scenario for them.
I mean, to both my analysts here, I feel like that top side of the map, like the skirmishing power at level 6 from both of those top trios is pretty nuts, honestly.
And usually knowing that Szygenda will move on the map more than Adam will, right? He will play for these Herald fights, he will play for these Dragons. It might be extremely pivotal now that he is onto this Renekton to roam the Renekton down, play for these Dragon fights. Ezreal is also pretty good at poking you when you start coming through these choke points, and being on blue side, you're forcing your opponents to walk through the jungle choke points, which allows you to put that pressure down with the Renekton and the Ezreal.
So, one last chance for Vitality.Bee to strike back in this series. They've tried multiple attempts, multiple styles, but BDS Academy walking away with an incredibly dominant first 2 games. And after LDLC fumbled a little bit, stumbled a little bit in their own quarterfinals, I actually think BDS Academy, they close this out in a confident 3-0. I'd be happy calling them tournament favorites after this point. Going on to face against
what Crownie did.
Game Ward, but are they going to be revisiting what happened in that level 1 before?
Won't quite find the shove. Can they get out? Jeskla still holding on to the exhaust, still holding on to the flash. Does now pop it. It will be flash for flash traded, but Jeskla is down that key somehow.
But see, this is the problem again. That is a lane that wants to be shoving in early on, but now that you are down that flash, that Lucian Nami really has that kill pressure we were talking about. So the second that Ezreal overextends, if Poppy's pathing towards that bot side of the map, you're in deep trouble.
So it gives Skeanz a little bit more margin of error. Not in a champion which can really abuse the Poppy much in the early game, but anything you can do for Skeanz is a good thing. Found out some stats throughout this. We did. Skeanz is the person who is revolved around for this team. Rest of the team, pretty happy to sit and skirmish or whatever. Really, Skeanz is the person who turns up to the plays and is present when the kills happen.
And just to put it in very simple words, if Skeanz doesn't do it on the map, nothing happens. And we have seen the Vitality.Bee in games 1 and games 2 to slowly have been bleeding out through that early game. And I don't think necessarily that this particular draft is a team fighting draft. You've got a Renekton that wants to play the skirmishes. You've got that Akali that needs to find the flanks, needs to find the right targets, needs to have the right potential in a fight. And then an Ezreal who's not so much of a hypercarry, he's more of a poke. Whilst you have Karma later on for all these shields. Very nice trade right there from Diplex. But again, you haven't necessarily made it easy for yourself to front to back BDSA.
The saving grace is that BDS don't necessarily have the big ultimate team fighting comp like they've had in the first 2 games as well. They don't have like the Azir Caitlyn hyper range sit and team fight and group kind of comp. It's easier for...
But I'll raise you. They do have a Lucian Nami.
They do.
And usually how you want to use a Lucian Nami in general in team fights is you find the squishiest member, which could be Akali, Ezreal, or Karma, and just poke them out instantly. One EQ plus proccing the electrocute from Nami can force out any of the 3 I just mentioned out of the fight.
Yeah, but if it's going to be about the first target, you've got a Sejuani in the fray as well. You've got a lot of ability to close down. We're going straight towards this bot side again.
So many potential ways for these plays to go out as that electrocute combo. It's certainly dangerous in lane at least. Sheo having a little bit of the fame from last game returned onto him. I don't know whether they want this. Jactroll's so damn low. Big knock on Erdote though, who has to flash over the wall. That'll be down. They do try and get on to Skeanz. He's got no way to dash. Sheo has to back away. Blue buff resets as this has been the point of pressure, a point of aggression for both of these last 2 games.
But think about it this way. In the last 2 games, this was BDS Academy doing this to Vitality.Bee. This is Skeanz now pushing up into the enemy jungle. It's Sheo not quite able to get off to a flying start. Vitality.Bee, they find themselves an advantage in the jungle matchup.
Yeah, and that's due to because, of course, having that Karma Ezreal down bot lane, shoving in that wave. Crownie and Erdote were like, okay, since Erdote did lose his flash and Sheo doesn't have his, overextended could lead into a death, putting that money onto the Ezreal. His poke is going to hurt even more. Early to mid game, we know how Ezreal spikes on these 1 to 2 items, so they definitely do not want to be dealing with that even earlier on in the game. So very well done right there. They actually back off of this one and start shoving back the wave towards the bot side of the map, and the junglers right here are going to be playing towards the same quadrant, towards the top side. And honestly, I'll agree with what the desk were saying earlier on. For Vitality.Bee, your bot lane doesn't seem to be working out. Mid-jungle duo hasn't necessarily had many skirmishes, so try to, for that matter, play towards Szygenda. Szygenda has slowly but surely been getting advantages over Adam in the lane. Play towards the Renekton, get him ahead, and then use him as a nuclear weapon to fight these mid-game fights around the Dragons.
To try and do that, and again, Vitality.Bee have been known, at least at the CU Masters, to kind of passively fall away if they don't have things happen early. In the LFL, Skeanz was able to sometimes just passively scale into relevance, even if things didn't happen early, but that hasn't really been possible at this level. He's already gone for an invade. He's looking to punish Adam, who flashes away with a flash on top of him. Permafrost afterwards, so well timed. Adam goes down for first blood to Szygenda's Renekton.
Oh, that is such an anti-fun combo. It's, wow, first knock-up comes in, and suddenly the Permafrost stacked up immediately by the Empowered W. It's 3 auto attacks, pretty much insta-stacks. Sejuani with 1 extra proc after that point. It's so much CC, so much damage. Adam put behind early.
But finally, Skeanz playing towards Szygenda, towards the top side of the map. Being active, 5 minutes in, we've already seen a gank coming through from Skeanz. We've already seen him counter jungling towards the both side of the map. We're seeing that activity that gets Vitality.Bee going in that early game. And honestly, giving that extra goal towards Szygenda. Look, he's going into the map, into the lane with a pickaxe over an armor and a longsword. He's gonna have the upper hand, especially when he hits level 6 before Adam, because he was able to manipulate the wave first. This is gonna be bad news if Skeanz chooses to go back top, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Oh, he is. I did want to highlight that Jactroll burnt his summon bot side.
Adam doesn't.
He's about to find himself on the returning end of another potential gank. Does get under the tower. They don't feel like they're quite able to go for the tower dive yet. Szygenda now hits level 6. That might have been a difference.
There's a chance for a redive.
You can
here.
redive.
It depends what's happening in terms of the information. Sheo is shown here. I think this should be a dive top at the same time.
Keep our eyes on it. Adam still keeping away from the tower. Diplex playing this one out so well. Sheo does not like his health bar right now, but gets chunked out does Diplex. And all the while, poor old Adam is being zoned completely away from this XP and minions.
You don't necessarily have to dive him, you don't necessarily have to kill him. The fact that you don't give Adam gold, the experience to try and fight in this 1 versus 1 is really bad news for BDS Academy, who have had Adam have his very slow and quiet lanes, but he's always been coming out, even with Szygenda right here. They want to knock him down.
BDS have to call everyone topside. Vitality bringing everyone to the fight.
That's going to be the 3v3, but the damage topside is pretty mixed for now. Szygenda gets the stun onto the Nami. No flash, it's sushi for breakfast. And they'll try and turn it around. Massive damage back. The Cull, the meat brings down 2. Sheo trying to get out. He gets under the turret, but he's been ignited. They're trying to tank up this turret aggro, and Szygenda will not be required to get a double kill for Diplex.
And don't you just love Renekton, baby, because he can dash into 4 members with ultimate. The passive damage from the ultimate does so much to a level 4 Nami that the second you stun them in place, they're dead. And honestly, love the proactivity towards the top side of the map. If bot isn't working, switch it up. That's exactly what they're doing.
And what I really love about this is just both sides go, if you're escalating, I'll escalate further. BDS, they see that they need to respond top. They bring up their support. And then suddenly Vitality.Bee do exactly the same. But this is why I was calling for the dive. You have a level 5 Aatrox who can't even get himself into that world ender. You get double empowered abilities coming out of Renekton. Pop the Dominus, and that is one of the strongest points of power that a top laner has within the game. Renekton gets that huge amount of power, twins up with everyone else on the top side, slaughters BDS Academy.
And to add insult to injury right here, I don't want to even count how many waves Adam lost while all this was going on towards the top side. He's about 10 CS ahead with an entire huge wave stacking up on top of Szygenda right now, who doesn't have his ultimate, but I don't think he's diveable at any point.
Did not enjoy that flash away from Jeskla. Big amount of burst coming through. The True Shot Barrage does catch onto 2, but that is a paltry return amount of damage. And to bring it back, I'm looking at that gold lead. It's not even 10 minutes into the game. We're already seeing a 2,000 gold plus gold lead for Vitality.Bee. Skeanz has got involved with everything so far. The solo lane is doing exactly what we asked for Vitality.Bee. Huge shift around in this game.
Yeah, and if that gold lead wasn't enough at this point, Herald's up. And I think that Renekton is one of the very best Herald fighting champions in the game. Again, around just having so much base damage from those empowered abilities, getting multiple of them off around those Herald fights, which means that BDS Academy probably can't even go towards this top side again. That Herald's going to come through. Potential plates coming through then. Look how low HP this tower is. You can either stick there in this extended laning phase, just keep brutalizing the matchup with the CS lead, or you can put that Herald wherever you want.
And playing an AP assassin myself, such as the likes of Akali, of course, I play Katarina, but having these pen shoes together with the blasting one is the biggest power spike you can have, apart from having a completed
May I interest you in an early Medjay's?
Okay.
All right, I too.
Put the library cards away.
I too play an AP assassin.
I'm sorry, but if I'm gonna trade pen boots with blasting one, you can have your Medjay, sir. You can have your unstacked Medjay. I'll take the blasting one.
You can catch me reading in the library later.
Josh, all right.
But the fact that Vitality.Bee are using the two champions that stack Sejuani passive so quickly because they're both melee, they spike at that level 6 where Renekton can take over full team fights, and they instantly use that level 6 spike to try and pick up a fight and get 2 kills on each of their carries. I think this gives you the go button for actually getting Jactroll off lane and keep assisting towards the tops of the map. Get your Akali further ahead, create a monster out of Renekton.
Oh, Reeker. He's going to go down. Solo kill. Look at the turnaround damage. It's pretty huge. Tries to go down, but here is Sheo. Will look to punish that attempted engage. A solo kill, but it is traded back.
I don't even know if that's worth it. You lose a summoner. It's not like you don't trade it back. I guess it's an uneven matchup in terms of the mid lane is having gold, but jungle is still alive at this point. Sheo now not under threat from that AP assassin around this dragon.
I think it's not worth it at all. Reeker was having a pretty hard time, and you just gave over your shutdown to the Poppy and assist over to Reeker. The wave doesn't end up getting pushed because if you force Reeker out of lane, he has to back, which means he loses experience and gold. Skeanz might try to steal that here.
It'll be the contest, a 3v2 right now. Skeanz goes right back on out, does have the flash, but there it is, taken away. Crownie now having to work out whether he wants this fight. Will dash away. And that looks to be the end of it for now.
Okay, so still have Herald in pocket for Vitality.Bee. They can use that to force BDS out of his hand.
Crownie flashes back, but now Skeanz in trouble. The true shot runs out on the 2. Glacial Prison is immediately cleansed. Captain Jack would be proud indeed. Flash out from Skeanz. Reeker trying to roam down, but there's no room to get anything more tense in the jungle.
Yeah, bit of a overforce at that point, but it's still some HP bars away from Vitality, from rather BDSA's bot lane. Now we're going to see what happened here. I mean, I understand going for this. Of course, has the heal cut from the Ignite after this point. Thinks that he can at least get himself out, but Sheo in the right place at the right time. Turns up at the right time again, as he always has done. Gets away with the shutdown.
Yeah, a little bit overeager, I think. Better late than never. At least we have Diplex playing the game to its fullest, right? He's not had the best games onto the area. He's been shoved in time after time from Reeker. It was his time to get a little bit of revenge. But again, I think playing with the advantage of the map is better than giving away a shutdown, especially when you're playing that Akali. But so far, so good. Top of the map is doing great. Mid of the map is doing great. Jungle is ahead. And you're actually dumping the Reeker toward the bot side of the map to get that Ezreal ahead of the Lucian as well. So far, so good for Vitality.Bee. Now, what can they do to translate that pressure on the rest of the map? I think, again, it's all up to Skeanz to choose a lane and run down.
A much improved game from Vitality.Bee. We were getting worried after the first 2, frankly.
Yep.
It looked like it was going to be a shutout by BDSA, but a shift of sides, a shift of draft priorities, and honestly, playstyle in general has been such a breath of life for Vitality.Bee. Need to complete this game first, though, but it's a much better look.
Yeah, and I think coming into particularly the quarterfinals, I think a lot of people who are, you know, just tuning in, especially after just the group stage, not following the tournament as closely, would just look and say, oh, that's an awful lot of LFL teams.
Jactroll, I don't think you want that. He's just dead.
I'm sorry,
that's an
but
awful lot of damage.
The amount of times I've seen Jactroll overextend in this series and actually punished is bringing your bot lane to a disadvantage because right now,
no flash, the Ignite's not quite up. Diplex will throw down the Shroud, gets on out for now. Has he got enough to work with? I don't know. He's got quite a lot of damage back. Reeker does have the ultimate. I don't know if he has the ability to steal it, but the Shuriken flip gets him out. Flash for the into the tower. Do they get the kill? Knock up! Sheo gets the kill. He's not all right. The Ignite, the Ignite. Oh my days, what's his HP, observers? I need to know.
It's calculated enough for him to survive, initialize. That's what it is. Reeker.
Flash away, but he's going to try to turn it around. Glacial Prison turning around the healing. Jactroll, though, does have the W and gets on out of there with a kill to his name.
Has the W, takes the W in the mid lane after Diplex. It turns out we're having some overextensions from everyone, but Vitality.Bee at least able to give it as good as they take. Top lane now fighting.
Pretty decent trade back and forth. Adam comes out with the bigger health total, however.
What I was briefly trying to say earlier, before every lane just decided, now is the time to fight. That sounds good. You know, it's great to see these kind of games after, or see this game from Vitality.Bee to at least kind of show their own playstyle, because it's not just for LFL teams, it's for individual teams which are very good, which just so happen to come from the LFL region of such high correlated talent, and Vitality.Bee finally able to show what they're made of in this matchup.
But you see how BDSA are able to punish that small mistake, because had Diplex not taken that power shot in the 1v2, had he not moved forward, Sheo would not be able to kill him underneath the town. They would have traded a kill. But of course, Reeker overextends, Diplex overextends, Jactroll overextends, but you can see the eagerness to get ahead, and Diplex...
he's about to get suplexed. Perhaps Tidal Wave comes down, but he's decided he's not up for a surf today and gets on out of there before he's wiped out.
Gets out of that one just fine, and Diplex has been a large reason of why Vitality.Bee can find these fights early on, because he's actually, for the first time in this series, been able to get that priority over the Sylas, and we called out right in Champions like something about, yeah, actually the Sylas can very much struggle against that Akali. Good to see that one coming out, and it's given Vitality.Bee a much-needed platform compared to the earlier games to play around the map.
And honestly, if I take us back to where Jactroll got caught in the bot side of the map, that was a tower from the side of BDSA that was literally hanging by a thread. One tower plating only, and the fact that Jactroll died right there meant that they couldn't take this tower down. Lucian, Nami have a tower behind them they're able to push down, so it put them behind in tempo, where actually Vitality.Bee were the ones dictating the early game.
Call it out as well. Observers did get back to me. It was 15 HP Sheo escaped on.
Calculated enough.
Calculated indeed, as I think we're back towards mid lane again, people.
If it's not single digit, it's calculated.
Shuriken did land there onto Reeker, but decides better of going in this time around, and the presence of Sheo wards away another dive attempt.
And if it's 0 HP, it's calculated, but boy, you bad at math.
Really?
Do you know that I've actually seen a screenshot where somebody does sit at 0 HP?
Really?
Because decimals do not show up on health bars.
0.5 HP.
I believe it was from Cries, if I'm not wrong. He posted on Twitter. He's like, how does this person not die here, you know?
I've never experienced that myself.
That's mad.
Now, thankfully, right now, for everyone involved, everyone's above 0 HP.
Wow.
That's crazy. I know,
Surprise, Timochu.
I am very, very observant sometimes. Sometimes my powers of observation, it scares me.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see if the observation skills for Vitality.Bee are equal. Because BDSA have already started that dragon, and what can Vitality.Bee take back for this? Vitality.Bee has mainly been warding towards the top side of the map. If I bring up the minimap, never mind the minimap.
Teleport's coming through. Reeker goes in, has stolen the karma. I'm not sure how much he gets out of that. Exhaust comes down. Jeskla gets that one on the other side. Erdote able to flash away from Skeanz, who does get the ultimate down. Crownie immediately cleanses. Turnaround is pretty good with the culling, but no one dies. Vitality.Bee get out with the kill. They'll get out with a Herald as well here to try and get a turret in mid lane.
I mean, it's a good turnaround for Vitality.Bee to get the kill, have now a power play in this mid lane. No way that BDS Academy can defend this. I actually wondered whether they could stay for a little more. I guess overstays have been the tail of the game though, so it's not going to be that. But BDS Academy able to get themselves that dragon, 2 neutral objectives stacking up. It's a Hextep Rift. If there's any way for them to get towards that soul, that flips this game on its head.
And I feel like Hextech Soul must be one of the most powerful when you're playing that Lucian, when he wants to pin you down, when he wants to play you on that short range, and you cannot close that distance between you and a very short range AD carry that wants to play in your face. It's going to be so powerful also for his one-shot potential. He slows down anyone like Ezreal, Karma, Akali. They will not be able to get out, and being able to have an AD carry that can go toe-to-toe with an Akali and push her out of a very important fight could be very crucial and pivotal for the fights to come for BDSA.
Yeah, got to get to that point first though. So BDS Academy got some work to do to stabilize their position. Not having a mid lane out of turret, that's gonna help. That's not gonna help them. In regards to this, it gives them less of an ability to skirmish. They can get picked off in the river.
Sheo goes in. We'll get permafrosted, but a good steadfast presence prevents Diplex easy entrance into that fight. Throws down the Twilight Stride, but won't go any further. I was about to say, Crownie just hit his second item, and Erdote picked up the Imperial Mandate. So that power spike that we talk about with the Lucian army is now online. And maybe they were looking for something there, but decide against it. People do pull away. All the while, though, Szygenda gets another tower, claimed the top side one just earlier, gets that one up 2,500 gold individually, really leveraging that after the early attention up top side.
He's absolutely massive, therefore Vitality.Bee can walk into these very small instances of map and use that Renekton. Diplex is going to trade with Reeker right there. Very importantly, Reeker does have that Akali ult. He can use it to get into that backline. And when you have that extra damage coming in from Crown Shot, maybe Reeker can find that execute.
Everyone's here.
One thing that we've been saying, though, is everyone's here, but Skeanz was there first. Remember in the first couple of games, it really was Sheo being at the play first. It wasn't actually Skeanz dictating the flow of play. On something like that, Sejuani, at this point in the game, a real force of nature. If you can at all get 2 proxy pass onto one person, there's so much base damage. And Sheo has not been able to just run through Vitality.Bee in the same way that he did in the previous games.
Yeah, and as you can see also, when we mentioned how strong the Renekton is, BDSA, every time they try to get a skirmish going on the map, when they try to get some money back onto them, second they see Renekton, they back the heck out. They don't want nothing to do with him, especially now the Aatrox has also been purchased, makes him that much more powerful and that much more tankier as well. This is why they're trying to play towards the side where Renekton is not there. Right now, they do have an advantage onto their teleport. So if they want to pull something off on the top side of the map, where that Baron is going to be spawning really soon, you take down the Akali, you take down someone like the Sejuani, you could potentially turn the game around.
Exactly, you know, for Vitality.Bee, this is a team that has forever been second best, or often third or fourth best, frankly. They've had these moments of brilliance in the LFL where they look just like the best individual players. Szygenda, such a monster in the top side in particular, that kind of vibe, but whenever they kind of hit the playoffs, there's always a bit of disappointment where they don't quite make it towards the finals, towards being champions. They get to the EU Masters and then fall out in play-ins or fall out in groups, and now in the quarterfinals down 0-2, they're looking to maybe right the wrongs of the first two games. 20 minutes in, they're up 4,000 gold, a minute to what would be a fight for the Hextech Soul Point for BDSA. Can they stop that from occurring?
And I just love this, man. They push top, they push bot, they're pushing mid, and what do? When they want to collapse through, they just push you from all sides of the map and they pinch you in, forcing BDSA back behind their towers. And due to the fact that there are not tier 1 towers for the side of BDSA, that means they have to fall behind even further back, which means that the quadrants of the jungle and the vision inside them belong to Vitality.Bee. It is so difficult for BDSA to actually face check. You do not have a tanky support. The tankiest member is your Poppy, but if your Poppy goes down, you have no smite.
Here we go.
That's exactly what happens the opposite of the first two games.
Glacier Prison's on, but Adam's got the ward and they're trying to turn us around the tower. Still up, so much damage going back, and Vitality.Bee have overdived. They don't fall down, however. The teleport from Reeker is popped. 20 seconds till the Hextech Soul. Point, of course, Diplex on the flank looking for more. But Skeanz being low could be problematic, especially with that dragon spawning.
Yeah, dragon spawning soon. Vitality.Bee, you can't really afford to give this one up. That's your lost condition at this point. Potential soul later into the game. BDS Academy still have a lot of ultimates to play around. They still have the culling, still have Erdote and Crownie with their point of power. Watch the Lucian Nami.
There's the Gale forcing so much damage onto Jeskla, your AD carry. Reeker on the flank, looking for more. Sheo goes in. Is this the moment for BDSA? It's a 3v5. No one around him. Golden Duck misses, but Erdote still claims the claim onto Jeskla. Szygenda is still going to stay alive. Look at the top side. Diplex looking to come on in. Jactroll taken down on the other side, though. Diplex gets in. Shuriken flipping his way to a perfect execution. Do get Adam, but what more can they get? Szygenda still alive. A 4v3 on the map. BDSA now going to try and pull back towards this dragon. What can
Very
they do
crucially, there was no ultimate on Skeanz, there was no ultimate on Szygenda. 8 seconds for Skeanz and it will be up. This guy does not miss, doesn't have his smite available though, so how do you steal when Sheo has his up? They have to actually give it up and pray that when the next one comes up, Vitality.Bee will be more in a position to fight this. But again, BDSA, they use that Lucian Nami that we talked about to poke that front line and then allow Reeker on the flank to finish them off. Very well done.
Yeah, it's real credit to BDS Academy for noticing their points of power, using it at the one point where they can. In the last couple of minutes, they were just trying to survive so much of the pressure, but Reeker comes in with the flank too. This Sylas so destructive, you get to close that distance, and Diplex chose not to teleport. There was a ward in the river to go towards. Diplex joins the fight late, doesn't give any disruption to BDS Academy's backline, allows the Lucian straight forward. No wonder whether Diplex... I wonder if he could have joined that fight a little earlier. Maybe it was a team play to not commit to that fight as fully early on.
Now the win condition is online, still down, 3,500 gold, but BDSA have got a light at the end of the tunnel. Can Vitality.Bee close? That was such a good early game, so much domination, so much map control. Right now they are perhaps with a few worries in their head.
I don't think 3,500 gold is enough for Vitality.Bee to say they can close down the game, but maybe this is.
This would be a good start. Do get a massive stun to Erdote. Taken out, the Nami is down. Now with a massive numbers discrepancy, but what about the culling on the side? Immediately Diplex has to go out, Skeanz taken down. Adam into the backside of this fight. Szygenda culls the Meek, but even as a ruthless predator, he has to go golden. Will still get a kill for Jeskla to 1-for-1 right now. Sorry, a 2-for-1 because of course Erdote fell at the beginning of this fight. Crownie tunked low with that mantra Q, the soul flare, and they'll take the man advantage.
We have waited for a lot of this series for Szygenda to be that relevant force as well. Turns up to the fight beyond that 2-item spike, and the individual advantage finally comes to play. We're talking about actually from the side of BDS Academy, having a lot of melees to play into on the top side. Same goes for the side of this Renekton though, and you can see how important it is when Renekton is just putting out this damage and healing through those low range characters.
But here, this is like a 4 versus 5 where BDSA are fine to take. Erdote dies instantly, and look at the damage that Crownie is able to put out. Diplex has to dip away. The Sejuani dies instantly, and only when Szygenda enters this fight that the rest of the BDSA members have to get out of dodge. Again, 3.5 1,000 gold for a team that spikes in mid-game is not enough because Aatrox scales so well, Lucian scales so well, Sylas scales so well, and adding all the utility coming in from the Nami and the peeling from Poppy, it's going to be really difficult to deal with them later on for Vitality.Bee. So if they want to showcase what they can do, they need to pressure their advantage right now. Guardian Angel purchased for Szygenda can be used 2.5 minutes time from now to stop that assault at the Dragon.
My eyes also turned to Crownie's inventory. I'm seeing an Infinity Edge in there as well. Big spike for that Lucian. Be enough, of course, he's the only real member on the team who's got a relevant lead. The Diplex is kind of looking, but he would be in a 3v1. Not sure how much he wants that.
I've seen Diplex win those. Someone says out there in the Twitch chat.
Yes, he's gonna go down, surely. The culling not quite screwed because of the weapon flash from Adam. The exhaust, but what the infernal chains? Jeskla has got himself an arcane shift just in time to get on out. He was on 50 HP of that. Glacial Prison goes wide. Szygenda on the flank looking for more. The Aqua Prison does land. Now Sheo gets the stun on Skeanz, who has to flash on out. Reeker has teleported in. Skeanz and Jeskla so damn low. Szygenda will slice away. Tidal Wave looking to get the solo laners. The Shuriken flip plus the Proto Belt away. Now Szygenda left out to try and throw down the Dominus. Does have that Guardian Angel. May need to pop the flash while goes back on in. But there's so much damage. My God, he tries to heal his way back on up. But it's down into the Resurrection.
He lost Jay.
And there's nowhere to go. The Aqua Prison is perfectly timed. Shut down to none other than Crownie.
But that's it. Vitality.Bee overextend. They get punished. Crownie plays them on his fingers so freaking well. Keeps his distance from Szygenda. Vitality.Bee are trying to pull a flank, but a lot of their members are scattered with really low HP bars, and this is where the Lucian Nami shines. Not when they're getting chased, when they're chasing you down.
And when they were trying this, you know, 5 minutes ago or whatever, they were taking place when they had those lanes pushed. They didn't have that this time. They didn't have that same ability to push, contain BDS Academy to one area of the map, and then take fights after that point. They didn't do their homework, and, well...
That's 4 members down there.
There's going to be everyone else turning around from Adam, who's going to try and turn this one best he can. Stolen Glacial Prison means a lot of time for Adam, who's trying to heal up. Does now go down. Diplex gets it. But here comes the rest of BDSA. How far do they want to go? Perfect execution away, and your top laner is dead, but will respawn as the Dragon does. He has teleport. Will that be enough?
I think one of the most important things that we highlighted from the previous fight as well is that Szygenda had his Guardian Angel. You can dive into 5 people, get as much damage done as you want, zone them away, and then die with Guardian Angel and come back up to life. That Guardian Angel is not going to be a factor here.
Honestly, bigger than that is Flash. You don't have the ability to close the distance onto the Lucian, try to have that turnaround kill potential. When you watch the LPL play Renekton, they don't, even if they would die by not using their flash, they save it for a dragon fight. Now you don't have that ability on Szygenda to get onto your target with impunity. Gonna have to problem solve their way out of this one. Vitality.Bee gold lead nonetheless, struggling to capitalize on these fights.
Adam respawns 6 seconds on his ultimate at soul point. This would be a turning point. They have demolished the first 2. They fought back in this 3rd. True Shot Barrage goes wide. What more can they do? Reeker taken a little bit low, and the standoff begins. Dragon started.
They have found Szygenda, very important. They know where the Renekton is coming from, and Reeker's going for him.
Misses that use of the Everfrost. Taken down low, but does have a Dominus to heal his way back up, and of course it's to Sylas. Never low HP for long. Dragon resets. Into the mid lane goes Crownie.
And look at what they're trying to do from Vitality.Bee. They're trying to pinch from every single side of the map. They're trying to find the flanks, but BDS are sticking together as 2 or 3 core members.
He goes. Sheo doesn't get it. That's secured by Skeanz. Brought out the fight afterwards. Look at the side. Crownie doing so much damage. Cold onto Szygenda, but the cold move's pretty good. Adam in the back, staying alive. 1 kill already in the favor of BDSA. And Vitality.Bee took it to Reeker. Escape. Reeker goes in. Has got a stopwatch. Shuriken away from Diplex. Be so damn strong. This Akali has been deadly all game as that True Shot Barrage takes people so low. It's a 1 for none, but the soul is stopped.
So, again, really struggling are Vitality.Bee to capitalize on their strengths in this game. Szygenda has another very difficult team fight. Isolated, alone in a 1v4 in the backline, multiple members damaging down that Renekton. Well, he can't actually get onto the targets that he wants to. There's no follow-up for the Renekton right in that backline. BDS Academy happy to take this fight in multiple stages.
BDS Academy have been so good at scouting where the flanks are coming from. They knew where the Akali was coming from. They knew where the Renekton was coming from. And in Szygenda's defense, Adam is doing the exact same thing. He's trying to zone away 4 members, but he's doing it successfully. The fact that this Guardian Angel was not a factor, the fact that the flash that you mentioned, Namer, was not a factor, made this Renekton die so quickly, whilst the Aatrox was healing through members.
And also, while all that's happening, you know, you've got 180 carry on, well, at that point it was 3.5 items to the 2.5. And that's the big problem, right? One of these AD carries is so much more able
Ezreal
to...
spikes into items.
Oh yeah, ooh, I'm really loving that Ezreal 2-item spike. Really helped him out of that last one.
Uh-oh.
Thinking about more. BDSA 2-0
Ah,
up.
blue buff.
They win this, they go on to face Game Ward, the other undefeated team from groups, the other undefeated team in playoffs thus far. BDSA win this. It's another 3-0, and we were highlighting after LDLC stumbled yesterday fairly heavily to Dusty. Honestly, BDSA could well be the tournament favorites if they close out the series. They've had 2 dominant games and a fantastic comeback. But catching Crownie could be a turnaround. He will cleanse. Teleports coming through. Sheo slowed down, taken pretty low. The culling starts to come through, but Skeanz takes little damage at this point. Jeskla goes over the wall with the arcane shift. Adam not here quite yet. Turn around though with the Glacial Prison. How much more damage can they get on Szygenda, who throws down the dominant tidal wave afterwards? Adam, world-ending, but not game-ending yet.
All I could think of when Szygenda teleports in there is that, well, I've teleported in now, best do something. Skills still keeps walking forwards, but you've used your Sejuani, you don't have your slice and dice to close the distance. Kind of oversteps a little, almost punished with death.
I'll give you the saving grace right here. They did manage to steal the dragon before. In 2.5 minutes, Szygenda's flash will be up, his guardian angel will also be up, and very importantly, the Cyrilla's grudge was built by Jeskla right now. So you're going to be slowing people down, especially with the Trusso barrage, allowing Szygenda to do even more damage onto slowed targets. Most importantly for Vitality.Bee, for BDSA, they can choose to ditch the dragons. They have 3, they can get their 4th one whenever they want. If they want to trade, they can very easily just go for that Baron, because there is not enough wave clear on the side of Vitality.Bee to deal with it.
Want to point out Erdote just built Mikhail's as well, so alongside the cleanse, Crownie going to be so difficult to pin down when he's got flash. Relentless pursuit, the Gale Force as well. Force the flash there though, but what more can they get done? Teleport in 2 minutes until that Hexol and that key summoner could be important. Apologies on the caster curse, Crownie.
It's okay, he still has Mikhail's.
Well, it's just extra safety you don't have now, because anything to save you from the Renekton in the backline is worth an awful lot of gold right now. Szygenda has himself that flashback up. Keep track of that one. See if Vitality.Bee can force themselves another fight. They're going to struggle to find themselves flank angles though, because they haven't got themselves any
They have been breaking ankles so far, you're right.
Well, let's see. You know, I don't even have a follow-up to that. I'm just going to keep talking about the thing about, like, Szygenda is like, he's not good at
this time.
I would try and, drag this conversation somewhere, but what are you going to do with it? Anyway, we've got ourselves a minute until that Hexol, and I do think we do need to keep our eyes on this fight. What is the setup going to be?
Teleports. That's what I was going to say. Teleports are going to be really important for this. And what can you do with them with the wards that you have? Vitality.Bee, they don't have any teleports. They don't have any wards behind them. It's going to be very difficult for them to force multiple angles. BDS Academy have many more options in that regard.
I'll raise you. Hex gates. If they can somehow manage to get behind them, sure. But BDSA have been so good at tracking where the flanks are coming through. They will never walk into this river without knowing where that Renekton and where this Akali is coming from. And you'll see Erdote is more than happy to even walk inside the completely pitch black quadrant without being threatened.
Szyenda's actually built up an elixir for this fight. Needs the immediate power spike.
Can they win it? Jactroll taken solo, but Reeker to the backside. Stun Glacial Prison. Skeanz has to flash away. Glacial Prison stolen away. Does go wide, but he's still likely to fall. The ball is on the floor. Szygenda to the back of this pit. But what more can he do? Dominant pop. Diplex will force the stopwatch out of Crownie. Crownie so low. Does get that Nami, but so much damage back. Crownie taken down. Surely goes down. Flash from Jeskla. BDSA still get one back though as Reeker gets that one. Jeskla full HP, but the healing is just obscene. Szygenda must now run away. Sheo stuns him into the wall with a heroic charge. Jactroll being slowed down. But he must now get out of there. Infernal Chains land. We'll throw down a renewal, but it's not quite the match of a Darkin Blade.
Very importantly, you have no smite left on the side of Vitality.Bee. Sheo stays alive for BDSA, and this is going to be soul for BDSA. This is going to be that key soul that makes Lucian so damn invincible in fights.
Vitality.Bee have had a very difficult series in the early game. Game 3, that looked better for them. They found themselves the early gold lead. Skeanz finally awake, active, impacting the game. But then it comes through to the mid-game, and BDS Academy once again find their feet. They're skirmishing, their team fighting in this game has been immaculate once they've got those item spikes. Even when the fight gets split up, they have just enough to see it out and win over that Hextech Soul.
I honestly thought when Crownie was caught here that this could be trouble and Jeskala's full HP, but they just don't quite have enough. That solo lanes from BDSA turning up when they need to.
And that was a fight that Vitality.Bee didn't necessarily prepare to fight. Jactroll again overextends, gets caught. What happens? Vitality.Bee tried to help him to get out. They tried to help their karma. The jungler gets caught. Back into action though, because BDSA have equalized the goal. And they want to fight Vitality.Bee for that sweet 3-0.
The Hex Tech Soul is theirs. That potential place in the semi-finals. So close. Just need one more Nexus. One more attempt. True Shot Barrage goes wide by a hair's breadth. The Baron's still alive. 4.5 minutes until another soul. Slow from the Hex on Diplex, who did not enjoy that one at all.
Yeah, good luck contesting mid waves at this point. You've seen what happens with Diplex. That is very oppressive. It's one of the reasons, of course, that Lucian was so strong when he was built lethality. Went towards that Cyrilda's Grudge later on. A slow onto his abilities just means so much more damage comes through from that culling. You're not dodging away from nearly as many shots. Vitality.Bee, you've lost yourselves a heck of a large objective in this game. Gold's not even in your favor. Struggling to find themselves presence on the map. They're struggling to find themselves Szygenda out of this situation.
This particular dinosaur is looking to go extinct. It's an asteroid coming in from the side of BDSA. Szygenda still alive, sped up by Jactroll, and maybe not quite yet. He's still there. The renewal from Jactroll roots Reeker, but he will get on out just fine. On the other side, Diplex and Adam are trading on out, but I think that's much of a much as World Ender's down, and Diplex will continue to try and fight this one out. A teleport forced now as Adam is really feeling it, trying to live up to his namesake, the World Ender. Throws down more damage, but everyone stays alive. Onto the Baron. BDSA go.
But BDSA have been so good at tracking the flanks, and I'm gonna say it over and over again. Whilst 4 members of BDSA were focusing on that, Adam was taking the flank, and right now Vitality.Bee are trying to enter through a very tiny choke point. BDSA are not gonna do them that favor. They might be looking for a team fight though.
Tidal wave comes through. The turnaround on Szygenda, who flashes into the fight but gets stunned up, but not for long. Down to the GA he goes. True Shot Barrage clips a lot of people. He goes Diplex, but the healing with that Kingslayer is pretty damn good. But instead, they're looking to be the Kings themselves. Adam going to step forward, a double kill for him. The resets keep rolling. The Darkin Blade keeps swinging. Crownie claims another. A triple for Adam, and that looks to be it. BDSA will clean sweep Vitality.Bee.
Triple kill for Adam, triple games for BDS Academy with none to be answered from Vitality.Bee. Might actually not be the game-ending fight, but it is an all-but name.
Here they go. Crownie calls out one final member. They'll try to get a little bit more on this one. They were 6-0 in groups. They're looking to go 3-0 in the quarters, undefeated, and on to face Game Ward, looking to take on the title of the favorites of the whole damn tournament. Forget LDLC, forget the other teams. BDSA are the ones to watch. They're heading to the semi-finals of the Amazon European Masters.
A 3-0 in a series which I think a lot of people thought was going to be much, much closer than that. I thought it was going to be much closer than that.
You guys didn't believe in Dusty going to front.
Yeah, well, and honestly, that has been a tale of all of our quarterfinals so far. When we have thought that, oh, you know, LDLC pretty favored over Dusty, probably going to be a 3-2. When we think, oh, you know, close games between X7 and whoever else, it's just like loads of other these series, and you're like, it's just the opposite of our expectations. And today, BDS Academy leaving no argument that they were the better team on the day.
I find this very anticlimactic because LFL teams are usually so freaking strong. For them to 3-0 each other, there's clearly a discrepancy of power between the top LFL teams and the ones that have coming through the play-ins. But Game Ward has stomped and they come through play-ins. Vitality.Bee have stomped and they've done the same thing. And then LDLC looked shaky. And BDS are looking really good. These are the finals of the LFL, and now they're gonna have to go ahead and face Game Ward, who also looked pretty stellar. Oh, yeah. And unfortunately for Vitality.Bee, they just could not find their footing.
We'd said that was the chances to right the wrongs of previous Amazon European Masters, and it's BDSA Academy that will be able to do it this time around. 2 dominant games into a comeback win proves that they are potentially on to be the favourites of the whole damn tournament. They'll go on to face Game Ward in the semi-final. That's it from us today, but you should definitely stay tuned for our post-match show coming up right after this break. Stick around and we'll see you there. Of course, last thing to do though, is to check out that Warner song of the day, Clean Bandit, crossed with French the Kid, Sad Girls, feat Rima. See you after the break.
Kiss me and just go. I think she is happy, she's a sad the sky. I'll be drinking till the feeling in my head goes down. Yeah, I'm walking on clouds as a real. I'll be tripping with the body while I'm spinning. Guess I like a this girl, a Gemini. And she really got me tight right now. Are you feeling the vibe as a real? I can't hear you when the music could be up, so. Money on my mind, guess we fantasize. Levels to the remedy stuck in my mind. To my mama shit, I promise we gon' be alright. Still I keep you awake at night. Yeah, get it in, only way I'll get it out. At least I make my brother proud. I'll be riding around, they tryna find me now. I'm feeling happy, I ain't always down, yeah. I know she feeling me, not a dealer B. I'm the realest G, I know LSD's how I feel the breeze. I got the sad girls feeling like I'm ecstasy. I got this one girl telling me that I'm the one. Came close at the bullet when I jam my gun. Got more time when I feel the drums. Got the bass in my mind when I'm feeling numb. Oh my little darling, we gon' fly to the sky. I'll be drinking till the feeling in my head goes down. Yeah, I'm walking on clouds as a real. I'll be tripping with the body while I'm spinning. Guess I like her, but this girl a Gemini. And she really got me tight right now. Are you feeling the vibe as a real? I can't hear you when the music could be up, so. I'll be drinking till the feeling in my head.
About this girl different from the first time I saw her. For a moment she looked like a Luna. When she move on the dance floor, she got the vibe, she got the essence with nobody else feel belong. I can tell she has a girl outside, but inside she be on. Oh, body's over her, she crying outside. I asked her what's wrong, she's telling me alone. I don't want your love, kiss me and just go. She's happy, she's a sad girl.
Oh my little darling, we gon' fly to the sky. I'll be drinking till the feeling in my head goes down. Yeah, I'm walking on clouds as a real. I'll be tripping with the body while I'm spinning. Guess I like her, but this girl a Gemini. And she really got me tight right now. Are you feeling the vibe as a real? I can't hear you when the music could be up, so. Baby, tell me if you feel what I feel. I'm imagining us smoking, feeling high. Got this Cali in my pack for the chill. She told me come let's fly to this paradise. I got feelings in my body and they never lie. All this liquor in my cups got me feeling right. I don't care about my issues when I feel alive, yeah.
I want it now and I ain't never gon' back down. I want it now and I ain't never gon' back down. I want it now and I ain't never gon' back down. I want it now and I ain't never gon' back down. I am a regular citizen. Do you understand what you're witnessing? You cannot tell what the difference is. I want it all and I'm winning it. I do not care about opinions. Time to make a few
And welcome to our post-show at the Amazon EU Masters. BDS Academy took down Vitality.Bee 3-0 and will take on Game World next in the semi-final. Let's face it, BDSA is looking like a good contender. We talked about this at the beginning of the show. Whoever wins today could be our next favorite.
Yeah, I think after how LDLC struggled with Dusty, and you know, again, we can talk about it contextually, Dusty really stepped up. It looked like a bit of a low floor day for LDLC. Realistically, seeing BDSA absolutely wipe the floor with Vitality.Bee only has to embolden you to feel that right now they have to be the favorites moving forward. Game World, of course, will have to now take on BDSA. We'll see how that one unfolds in a couple of days' time, but for sure you're looking at BDSA now as one of the stronger contestants, if not the strongest.
In this third game, almost went for Vitality.Bee, but then we were talking about a specific sound that a champion makes when he gets a kill, which is Aatrox. You know what I'm talking about, guys, at the chat. That, you know he's coming for you. Talk to me about it. It was a close one, wasn't it, Noah?
It was a close one, and I have to say, whenever I hear that sound, me as an AD carry, it's like I have chills in my spine. It's like, oh, I'm going to die. In my opinion, Jeskla had that feeling as well. It was you know, the game we kind of wanted Vitality.Bee to play towards the top side with Szygenda getting the kills, Sejuani plus Renekton, that is a duo you want to make work. We had Jeskla on this Ezreal, who is a champion that you want to leave alone by his own in the bottom lane, and you want to play towards another side of the map, and it kind of worked in the first minutes, but somehow BDSA made some teamfights work, even though they were kind of 3.5k behind Vitality.Bee. So props to them, because it was pretty amazing.
We'll talk about that with someone that is joining the show right now. It is the mid laner. It is Reeker joining us with the Azir, with the Sylas as well. Welcome to the show. How are you feeling? That was your plays with Azir was something to tell about.
Hello, what's up?
Well,
I mean, right now, I feel okay. The third game was a bit rough, early game. I felt like, okay, guys, we just have to suck it up for now. We will come back later, and this is how the mood is right now. You took it heavily in the early game, and then you just figure it out later, and it's not really exciting to play.
Reeker, let's
And
be
also,
honest, okay.
we were,
Third game, it was kind of bad for you guys at the beginning, but the first two games when you played the Azir, it was a different feeling, wasn't it? And tell me something, were you expecting the 3-0 coming in from you guys versus Vitality.Bee?
Normally, yes. I think they were not able to beat us, like from the start, judging by how they fight normally and how they put damage. I feel like none of them, like, we're looking at the stats, and Szygenda is the player that puts the most damage, the top laner. So either Szygenda has to be literally the shy prime, or other members of Vitality are doing something wrong in the fights. So, and since we have Adam who can handle Szygenda really, really well, I never thought this was going to be an issue.
Yeah, I'm actually really glad that you mentioned that you had Adam to handle Szygenda, because your drafts today, you were prioritizing Azir, Caitlyn. This is not picks that you've really played too much of this split. Talk to us about that. Is that something that you prepped specifically to deal with Vitality.Bee, because you kind of just expected Adam to win out in the isolated 1v1, so you just decided to play a little bit more towards the bottom side for this series?
I mean, not really, since, I mean, with Caitlyn, I think it just came with the new patch, since we swapped patch between the playoff series. And when it comes to mid lane, Azir has been like the top tier pick for the entire time. And I think Diplex in that case has a big hole, since he doesn't play Azir. So we can, even on blue side, we can choose to pick whatever we want, which is not Azir, and then even have it for 2-3, which gave us a big draft advantage, I would say.
Okay, Reeker, we're smiling right now, and let's take that smile away for a little minute, because on the third game, you were telling us, well, it was not good to begin with, but you guys hold on, you guys came back in this third game. Were you expecting to go, like, to come back in this game, or you were expecting 4 games? Because we need to look at the comeback of what you guys brought in.
The thing is, if this is, I don't know, let's say G2, we lose in 15 minutes with that early game. But somehow, I don't know, it was like somewhere around minute 10, I was telling my team, okay guys, my lane is fucked. Oh, I'm sorry. My lane
we move on.
I mean, it was the code, it was what I said. So basically I said that, and the longer the game went on, we were like, oh guys, enemies are making really weird macro decisions. They're low damage, they cannot win any fight. So the longer the game went, we were all like, oh, enemies are really not on point today. So yeah, like the longer the game went, the more we expected to just take it away.
Seems fair, seems fair. I would like to look to the end game, like the stats, to understand how it went for you guys, because it was a roller coaster for all of you. It's going to be interesting as soon as we see that one, because it was not in your favor. You can look into this. It was specifically in everyone, but the bot lane was really interesting. So we need to talk about the OnePlus MVP for today's series as well. Do you want to take a guess on who is the MVP?
The MVP
for today?
Is this a fan voting?
Yeah.
Adam.
It is
I love how he knows. He's like, if Adam's involved, it has to be him.
It has to be Adam.
Like, I said, as we was walking out of the green room, I was like, all right, it should be Sheo. Reeker definitely like very, very close second. Adam's there. He probably shouldn't win, but yeah, Adam got the vote.
I'm going to ask you then, Reeker, who do you think is the MVP for today? Your opinion.
Who's your MVP for today?
Yeah, for you, like in your mindset.
I would give it to Sheo. I think it's good. I think Sheo is good. He played really, really well today.
But well, it is still Adam on the top lane. Not much happened. You can see how he survives due to Soraka, but he was the MVP clearly. The way you TP'd today, by the way, you were brutal on that one. It was so good watching you use the teleport as a good mid laner should. But there you go, it is Adam. Let's be honest, he did pull off versus Szygenda. He did a good series. He didn't lose the lane as well. It is something to behold.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
I love how nobody wants to talk about this. I just love it.
I mean, it kind of has some MVP vibe to hold the lane versus Szygenda. Reeker was talking about how Szygenda is, you know, this high damage top laner, and Adam was like, okay, I'm holding him. And not only holding him, he kind of had some advantage at some points.
Hey, Reeker, thank you so much for this one.
Adam for sure has the upper hand.
Love it, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this time, Reeker. Best of luck moving on into the tournament. Everybody was talking that BDSA now is currently the new favorite, so good luck on that one, and let's see if you can win EU Masters. Have a nice one. See ya.
Thank you very much. See ya.
There we go. Now we can let him go. I agree with him. Adam is a good player. He's an amazing player.
He is.
Yeah, he's pretty good at the top lane. I guess, you know, junglers just can't win. You know, they're just not allowed to win MVP, I guess.
How is not? That is a freaking lie.
Yeah, Twitter, what can I say? They like Adam. I mean, he did have a good final game.
Yeah, well.
It just felt like, again, the series didn't really revolve around the top lane too much, so definitely a surprising vote, but hey, what can you do?
It was the sound from Aatrox, you know? It brings back the
it sticks to your
terror,
head.
you know?
It sticks in your mind. You're going to go sleep and you're going to have this salt Aatrox sound in your head. What?
If you ever go to sleep and you listen to that, man, you need help. Because that's not a good sound to
listen. If I listen to that, I probably should run away.
I would do the same when I'm a top laner. Let's look into the bracket to see what we have in the future after today's victories coming in from BDSA. So we know it's going to be Game Ward versus BDSA, and we still need to understand tomorrow who's going to be facing LDLC. But we know one of those French teams is going for finals. Noah.
Oh my.
Predicted.
Predicted? What do you want me to predict?
On the French side, bonjour, who do you pick it?
Wow, BDSA was really strong today. Honestly, was really strong today. So I think they are the ones that are gonna make it to the finals, just to, you know, to make amends with the spring split that they made in the European Masters. Also, they made a very strong tournament so far. They didn't lose a single game, if I'm not mistaken, right now. They didn't lose a single game during the whole tournament. 6-0 in Europe, 3-0 in quarterfinals. I think they're gonna make it all through the finals.
We have more information, and it seems like BDSA are going to have the side selection for the semifinal. So they won the coin toss. They don't lose anything.
I mean,
they even won.
We made the joke that Adam is consistently tossing coins and winning, so I guess it continues to. It continues to be the case for BDSA, I suppose.
What about you? Who do you think is going to win?
Yeah, that topside bracket still. Look, it has to be BDSA, right? I think sure, Game Ward had a massive step up in their series against X7, but to me, it still felt as if X7 weren't fully playing at their ceiling in that series. So it's kind of hard for me to judge. You have to also take into consideration Game Ward didn't really have a tough group to walk through to get through knockouts, right? They had a struggling Schalke, they had a Dusty, and I can't even recall the fourth team, which is really bad off the top of my head. Matchko, thank you very much, Noah. Wow. So I think the fact that they were able to kind of waltz through groups without having to show too much, it's for me, their overall ceiling is still not shown to us, so I feel like we have a little more concrete information on how strong BDSA are.
And before we go into semi-finals, we still have one more game tomorrow. It's going to be Unicorns of Love Sexy Edition versus Team Erdote tomorrow. Noah,
yeah, it's
last hope for Spain.
versus Prime League. Noah, you're from LVP.
Yeah, yeah.
I introduced you as a Wikipedia from LVP.
I don't know why you did that.
Noah,
Yeah?
tell me,
No?
what is going to happen?
It's gonna be Spain without an S. I don't know, because I'm so used to that I don't remember the victory past quarterfinals. We fell in quarterfinals. Fnatic fell 3-0 in quarterfinals in spring. Our 3 seeds that made it to quarterfinals last summer fell in quarterfinals. I want to say that I'm ready to trust again in a Superliga team, but
It's still too soon.
it's too soon for me to engage again with not thinking that we're gonna get smashed. But honestly, Heretics and now, jokes aside, I think they are a very different team when it comes to best of 5. Now, jokes aside, they are a very good team. They have very good preparation, honestly. Jeeves won our coach of the split in LVP, and it's not the first time for him to win this prize. It's the second time for him. So I really think, and I know this for sure, that they are going to come so well prepared
So
for
it might
that
be
series.
a 3-1 for the Unicorns? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe a 3-1.
Maybe she even delayed on the 3-1, man. There's no hope in Spain. Can you do better, man?
It's their fault for hurting me.
Unicorns are going to put the L on LVP tomorrow. It's probably going to be a 3-0. Honestly, I feel like the gap between these two teams might
Jamal's
be a little bit
opinion
too
is
large.
based on NLC not having more teams in quarterfinals, so he want me to feel the same.
Yeah, 100%.
So he want me to feel the same.
Wow, I don't know how
It's
you
just
flame
hatred.
him, and I'm the one taking the pain as well. But it's good. We share pain in this desk. We share
You
pain.
lost your team twice, honestly.
You're about to lose your
Well,
own team.
this was a lovely day at European Masters yet again.
I hope you enjoyed the 3rd day of the Amazon European Masters. We'll be back tomorrow for the last quarterfinal. Thank you so much for watching. Keep climbing that mountain. Don't skip a beat. I'll see you soon. Have a nice one.